welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to give some travel tips, hotel hacks, and a couple of packing tips from a former flight attendant. I would love to get you guys ready for your summer trips and travel. I know a lot of you guys have planned weddings, honeymoons, summer family vacations, and all of that good stuff. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to go over is booking travel. As far as booking travel goes, and by all means I am no expert, a little bit of my knowledge with you. So one of the biggest things people do wrong when they're booking a plane ticket is they book it on the wrong day. First, of course, as you know, book as far in advance as you can. You don't want to book something the same month that you're going on that vacation because the rates, first off, are going to be skyrocketed. Second off, there may not even be available seats. Recommend booking your travel on a Tuesday or Wednesday in the middle of the night. Yes, so like 3 in the morning, if you're awake, or set your alarm, start looking at those tickets on Tuesdays or Wednesdays because that's when rates tend to be, not always, but tend to be a lot lower with most airlines. The other thing I want to mention is that not only is it good to book your travel in the middle of the night or early morning, I shall say, but it's also good to actually take the trip on early Tuesdays or early Wednesdays. So if you're starting your trip on if you have a vacation and you plan your vacation to have off 7 days, take that Monday to pack and get ready for that trip and leave Tuesday morning. The reason I say this is because a lot of business travelers leave on Mondays, so sometimes those flights are full and more flights are gonna be more expensive naturally, just as anything that you might do on a weekend is gonna surge, Uber rides, everything of that matter. So I recommend traveling on an early part of the week as well as booking your travel early in the week and always early in the morning. Also keep in mind that it is wise, though it's not fun to wake up early when you're on vacation sometimes, it is wise to take the first flight of the day in any situation. So the first flight of the day out of your city, I would say to try to take that flight, try to book that flight. The reason being is because any cancellations or unfortunate delays, anything of that sort, at least you have the rest of your day to deal with that situation and get on more flights afterwards. If you book a 3 p.m. flight, there might not be more than 1 or 2 flights after that out of your city, and if you're from a really small area, there may not be any more flights leaving later in the day. I worked for a regional airline, and I know that some cities only had 1 flight a day leaving from their area. So if you only have that option, that's fine. But if you are fortunate enough to live somewhere where you do have multiple options, try to take the earliest flight of the day, just keeping in mind that that is going to be, kind of the paramount idea is early. Plus, you can go back to bed on the plane, okay? So you can sleep on the plane, take your little nap. That way when you get to your destination, you're a little less tired than you may have been. All right. So now that the booking's out of the way, I kind of want to go over some airplane and airport tips. Some of these may be common sense to you, but believe it or not, whenever I was a flight attendant, a lot of them did not seem like common sense to some people. But then I put myself in their shoes and realized that, when you're traveling, you're stressed, you're making sure you just remember everything, and you're trying to plan your itinerary for when you get to your destination. It might be redundant to you guys, but a lot of them might help. Don't always rely on the flight attendants to have an immediate trash receptacle available to you at your disposal when you're done eating. And if you want to nap right after you eat, you may want to throw that away. So I recommend bringing like a grocery bag or whatever the bag the food came in, just so you have something to put your bottled water in your food or your trash. Put that in under the seat in your little carry-on, and then that way whenever the flight attendant does come by, you can either give it to her, or if it's too large and they say they can't take it on the really small aircrafts, at least you have it to take with you off and dispose of it at the airport of your destination. Do bring earphones. A common misconception is that all airplanes are going to give you free earbuds. I know that a lot of airlines do provide earbuds, but not all of them do. A lot of the times it's going to be your mainline legacy carriers that provide these earbuds, and a lot of the times they are going to be on their bigger aircraft. You're thinking your Airbuses, you're thinking your, large aircrafts, okay? And so they provide those on some flights, yes. On many flights, if anything, more often than not, do they not provide headphones. They also could run out. So that being said, bring earphones. Don't rely on, just the same with the trash, don't rely on the flight attendant to have earphones for you, and then you end up stuck without earphones and you wanted to take a nap and listen to your music and you're stuck on a 3-hour flight with no headphones. Do bring them. Do bring a blanket and pillow. This is a big one. It's probably the biggest tip I have for everybody. The air is colder up in the sky, okay? And it is thinner. So you tend to get kind of a different type of feeling in your body. Your oxygen is kind of depleted in a sense, not in an unsafe manner, but just your body's feeling a little different than it would on the ground. So you're going to kind of feel colder naturally. Most people do. Some people get hot on the plane, but most of the time people kind of tend to feel chilly on the plane. That keep that in mind when you're wearing your outfit that you're going to travel in. What I'm wearing right now, I would definitely always bring a cardigan or some type of lightweight little jacket or kimono to wear over myself, and then it can also fashion into a blanket whenever I'm napping on the plane, or kind of just a coverall. And blankets are not always provided. Many times blankets are reserved for first class, and so that means that the aircraft is stocked with enough for first class seats. So not all airlines provide blankets for the whole cabin as far as quantity. Don't assume that there will be blankets, and definitely don't assume that there's going to be pillows available. Neck pillows, I recommend the typical neck pillow is always a great idea to bring. They do make collapsible ones now that fold up. Those are really awesome because they can fit in your luggage a little easier instead of hanging off of your suitcase. I recommend the one with the snap in the front of the neck, and that way it can also snap onto your luggage or snap onto your neck instead of falling kind of when you nod to the side. So think about those things: blanket, pillow, earphones. Do make a list in the morning, or tell your spouse, your children, your friend, whoever you're traveling with, or make an alarm on your phone that is written out to pack all documents, because you do not want to be stuck at that airport forgetting things like your passport or your driver's license. So what I personally did, and I did this every single trip I left on, even as a flight attendant, I would do this. I would make a note and put it on my bathroom mirror with tape, tacky style, and it would have big red letters: don't forget phone charger, don't forget, documents, etc., whatever I knew that I needed to really make sure I had in my bag, just to double check in case. So obsessively check, make sure all of that good stuff in the morning, allow enough time to do that, because as you know, security rules are pretty strict these days, and you're not going to be able to get on that plane, let alone through security, without certain documents. Flight attendants cannot rebook flights for you. So if you're on the plane and there's a ground delay and we're sitting at the tarmac and it's taking a long time, and you know that you're going to probably miss your connection, or you have a bad feeling you are, we cannot rebook, or as a former flight attendant, we could not rebook the flight for you. You had to have a gate agent or customer service representative or a telephone agent from the airline rebook that flight for you. You can also go online and rebook it yourself, use the app, etc. But bring gloves. I recommend bringing a latex or a non-latex, if you're allergic to latex, glove. As far as like a pack, you can get like 8 for $1 at some dollar stores. Bring gloves in your carry-on, because if you're using the restroom at the aircraft, you can wear those gloves and it's a little more sanitary that way. You can also use those gloves to open door handles, things like that. And that way you're just protecting yourself from some of the germs that are on the aircraft, because aircrafts, it is true, the rumor is true, aircrafts do carry a lot of germs, especially with the cabin air. It is recycled air, so that's a good idea. I also use gloves at my hotel, a hotel hack. I use gloves to put on my remote control, and so a little more sanitary to have in your bed with you late at night at your hotel. but at least you can still type and kind of see. If you get the see-through gloves, you can still see to click your buttons on the remote. So that's a little thing I recommend bringing with you. Use the restroom before you get on the plane, because you never know how many people are going to line up to use that restroom the minute we get into the air and people are able to get out of their seats. There could be a lot of people in front of you and you don't want to be stuck in a situation. This brings me to hydration. So hydration. Stay hydrated. You've heard this before about everything in your life, but on aircrafts it is very, very important to be hydrated when you're traveling by plane. The reason being is because, as I said before, the oxygen up in the air is much different and your body is not getting as much oxygen as it does on the ground. So your skin's gonna kind of dry out, you're gonna feel a little more tired, some people even feel lightheaded when they fly, and you're gonna be more thirsty, your mouth's gonna be drier, etc. So make sure you're hydrated before you fly. Ask the flight attendant before switching your seats. The reason being is because flight attendants have to count the people on the aircraft, and zones are, there are certain zones on the aircraft that people are sitting in, and so when those zones have different counts, all of a sudden it messes up that count. So if you're gonna go ahead 2 rows because you see an empty seat, first off, check with the flight attendant. It may be a seat that's not available for you to just go to, because it may be an economy plus seat or something, various terms used for different airlines on what those kind of seats are called, but there may be a reason that you can't exactly just go to that seat yet. So just make sure beforehand, and that way, you know, they can get their counts right and they know where everybody's seated. Get to the airport 2 or more, preferably more, hours early. Especially for international travel, I say 3 or more hours early. Everybody says this, but it is imperative. The reason being is because that security line can wrap around, especially during busy seasons of the year. It can get so busy, you guys, and you never know if you accidentally pack something that may need to be removed, or where you accidentally may have to be patted down for something kind of ridiculous. You just never know what could stall you in security or take longer. Download your airline's app. The reason I say this is because the apps usually have booking information, status of the flight, text alerts, you know, where is the aircraft currently, that kind of good stuff. And it's really, really helpful for a lot of situations when traveling to have that app ready to go. A lot of times you can use mobile boarding pass. That way you don't have to hold on to yet another piece of paper when you're already holding on to so many documents and trying to keep track of everything in a hurry. So download your app of the airline you're flying on before you get to the airport. Wi-Fi doesn't always work on the plane. It's not always in the control of the air carrier for the Wi-Fi to work. Some planes, the Wi-Fi is just messy and it's just the airplane itself. But a lot of the times the Wi-Fi is affected by things like the region you are flying through, or maybe just certain interferences. Wi-Fi, just as it is on the ground, is not 100% predictable. So if you have something important that you're working on, you're traveling for business, don't rely on that time during the plane to for sure get what you need to get done on your laptop or phone. You may not be able to get it done. You may very well be able to use the Wi-Fi just fine. Also, don't rely on the fact that there may be a plug on the plane to charge your phone. There isn't charger plugs on every single aircraft. As far as the ones that do have charger plugs, it sometimes can be in only first class or in the economy plus sections, etc. Verbiage varies depending on the airline. But that being said, always make sure your phone's already charged. Bring a juice pack, Mopey, something of that sort. That way you know you're charged and ready to go. So your headphones, you got your headphones, you got your stuff done that you needed to get done on the internet prior to traveling, and you know, you've got all your music downloaded already that you want to listen to, or movies. You've got your airline's app downloaded, and you've got a charged phone. So that way you're ready to go and there's just no interferences for your entertainment. The tray tables are really that dirty. I've seen people change diapers on the tray tables. There are a lot of germs on the aircraft, as I said, but there are particularly a lot of germs in the lavatory and on the tray table. There has been studies that shown that tray tables carry all kinds of bacteria, and so not to scare you, but if you are going to use the tray table, I recommend laying out the cocktail napkins that the flight attendant gives you, or laying out your own napkin or some type of piece of paper or something that you have in your carry-on before you lay your items over it and on it, because it's just kind of sanitary more to do that. Don't sneak your animal on the aircraft. We will find out about it. Again, with the counting, we have to know every living thing that is on that aircraft. So we will see under the seat if you brought a little chihuahua or some type of small animal or big animal with you. So it's just important to disclose animals that you are bringing on the aircraft, whether it be a service animal or a pet. That you are bringing on, either of those. Please disclose it to the gate agent, customer service rep, or disclose it on, I know a lot of airlines now are doing it where when you book your travel, it has it on there to go ahead and document it on there, because like I said, we will very much find out about the animal, so that we will have to go back and they tell the gate agent and all of that good stuff, as well as it affects the count. You don't want anything like that making us have to delay the aircraft because we have to recount things or figure things out or reseat or anything of that sort. So just please disclose the animal prior to flying. Packing tips. Okay, so roll your luggage. Everybody probably knows that when you're packing in a suitcase, it is very hard to fit all of the clothing that you want to fit. A lot of times you have to deal with weight restrictions once you're getting to the airport and you're loading on the checked baggage. That being said, rolling isn't necessarily going to make it weigh less, of course, but rolling will allow you to fit more items in your luggage. So roll your luggage the way that you see towels rolled at hotels, the way they do that. Think of that when you're packing your luggage. This helps particularly with pants and jeans and larger items of clothing. It allows you to kind of puzzle them in and fit them a lot easier. Another thing I recommend is packing a small can of travel Lysol. That way you can spray anything that may be germ infested, or anything you want to keep clean when you get to your destination. And if not, the handy wipes, I recommend bringing those, and you may bring both of those in either your carry-on, or I recommend bringing them in your main bag as well as the gloves, as I had mentioned before. As far as clothing, I recommend, no matter what, always bringing a pair of flip-flops, no matter if you're going to a cold place or not, or a hot place, wherever you're going. Bring a pair of flip-flops. This being easily use these as kind of a slipper in your hotel room to avoid walking on the actual hotel floor. They're also great to use on the actual airplane themselves because they're a little more comfortable. They're easy to pack. They're not going to take up space if you get the real flat, cheap flip-flops. So I recommend bringing those in addition to whatever shoes that you are packing for your travel destination. I recommend bringing a swimsuit no matter where you're going as well. So even if you're going somewhere that is not really swim friendly, I recommend bringing a swimsuit, because you just never know where your trip can take you. You just never know, and you don't want to be stuck, and you really don't want to be stuck buying something somewhere that may be more expensive at a little boutique. You also don't want to be stuck buying things at the airport. No offense to the airport shops, as they are very cute, but so you could easily pay $40 for a $10 item, at the airport for something. I take this shirt for example. It is faded. It had, every letter was white like this one, but now it is faded, and that was something I bought at the airport, and I've only worn it about 5 or 6 times. So sometimes you're not getting the quality you may get if you were to shop a little more diligently at a shopping mall or whatnot. So save your money for that Tylenol you may have forgotten or needed, or that Panda Express at the food court, okay? Not all airplanes have hot food as well, so keep this in mind. A lot of smaller aircrafts do not have the means to make hot food. So you may be stuck eating, snack boxes only for purchase, and all of that. So if you know you're gonna get hungry or you're gonna need a little snack, bring something in your carry-on. Bring a bag of chips, or bring your own little hummus dip or something of that sort. That way it is something that you can pop open easily and snack on, and that way you feel rejuvenated during the flight if you need to snack. Okay, so these are some beauty tips before traveling. So I highly recommend getting a thing of eye drops, and they make a clear eyes for travelers. It is my absolute favorite thing in the world for traveling. So put that on. If you're a contact lens wearer, maybe think about wearing your glasses on the plane, because it will almost feel like your eyes are sucked up when you're on that plane. I'm sure many of you who've flown before know this, and so your eyes will thank you if you use an eye drop. Put lotion on. That's another beauty tip. Put lotion on prior to flying, not maybe right before getting on the plane, but put lotion on before you leave the house that morning, including facial lotion, because as I said before, the air is very dry up there, and so if you want to look still renewed and refreshed when you get to your destination, instead of looking dry and kind of tired, then that will keep your skin at least a little more hydrated, and so I recommend putting lotion on. Your skin will thank you later when you get to your destination. You want to take all those Instagram worthy
Alright
photos.
guys, that's it for today's travel tips. I hope that some of these helped you guys. Some of them you may already know or have forgotten, and now you remembered in the chaos of your summer travel planning. So have fun this summer, have fun in all of your travel destinations, and if you have any other questions or travel tips that I may be able to help you with, don't hesitate to ask me. I may be able to answer something else that you may be wondering. So bye.